All right. Well, let's get started. If those joining late pop in, that would be great. Today's session of our Solutions for Success series is on Dynamics 365 Customer Insights. And we're so glad that you were able to join us. So getting into our presentation. So just quickly, an introduction to those of you who are not familiar with Point Alliance. We will then get into our customer insights journey. So at Point Alliance. Oh, there we go. All right. Presentation is just jumping around a little bit. We'll get into journey orchestration, segmentation, how this fits in to your Microsoft ecosystem, and a short demo. Again, there is a lot certainly to cover in customer insights. We will just be scratching the surface, and Eleanor will be leading us through a majority of this, but why don't we jump right in? So very quickly about Point Alliance. Again, my name is Jonathan Hamilton. I am the president here at Point Alliance. I am joined by Eleanor, who is our VP of Consulting Services. She will be leading us through a majority of the content today. Again, Point Alliance is a Microsoft solutions provider based in Toronto, Canada. We hold 5 solution partner designations across modern work, security, digital apps, Azure, and infrastructure. We pride ourselves on being 100% Microsoft certified, all of our staff members, and you can find more information at our website at pointalliance.com. So with all of that out of the way, we will turn things over to Eleanor, and she will take us on a bit deeper dive into Dynamics 365 Customer Insights. Eleanor, over to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Today's session is about customer insights journey. So what is customer insights journey? This used to be D365 marketing together with customer insights. So it has real time with trigger journeys from live customer events. Cross-channel, you can have cross-channel communication using email, SMS push, notification, or other forms. It's AI native. It has Copilot and autonomous agents embedded across workflow, and also has unified data if you integrate this with customer insights data with, for example, Azure Data Lake and other Azure storage. Okay. So what are the core capabilities of customer insight? So there is customer journey orchestration, where you can have a trigger-based journey. The trigger-based journey meaning it reacts on real-time customer action. So for example, if there is lead creation, incident created, you can use that as triggers an event to automate and send communication to your customers. There's also segment-based journeys. It's targeted, defined depending on your audience, and then it has this journey orchestration is like automated workflows behind the scene. And then secondly, it has a unified customer profiles where you can have all your customer insights. If you go into a contact, you'll have insights, communication, and also consent center. And also, as I mentioned earlier, it had multi-channel engagement where you can put your email communication SMS texts, push notifications to your apps or to your corporate apps, and other custom channels where you can use SDK and develop it. It is AI-driven runtime channel optimization per individual to maximize engagement and conversion rates to your client. And also, in this product, it has a section for event planning where you can manage live events, webinars, venue management, session tracking, um, yeah, and guest logistics. There's other sections on it. I'll show you that later. So three ways to orchestrate your journey. So there's as I mentioned, trigger base, where in a real-time event, sample event triggers such as lead creation, contact creation, you can use that as a trigger to orchestrate your journey, and then it can also have like decisions on that workflow. Um, when you trigger that journey, so you can modify that and then configure it. It's also segment based, so depending on your audience, so you can have a list of all contacts and then you create a segment using AI, so you can query or prompt. So let's say you can have want contacts from Toronto or from somewhere, or contacts from a different industry. It can do that filter for you without knowing what is the actual column attributes from your data source. And it's also API driven if you have custom code that you wanted to use. So what's Joins delivers value for? So for example, a welcome series. So you wanted to have an engagement to a customer. So you want to onboard new customer, like new registration. You can have a personalized email sent to them, a personalized SMS, or like a push notification if you have a custom apps that you can do. You can do that from Journey. And then you can also, as I mentioned earlier, event, webinar, marketing. So they have a full suite of features inside it to do event management. And you can do upsell, cross sell depending on the customer experience or customers like it's again like trigger based, right? Purchase history, behavior, so you can do that. And lead sales engagement, from lead nurturing to automatic qualification to sales, especially if you install a customer insights journey on top of your DT65 sales. So segmentation and targeting, as I mentioned earlier, so your audiences, you can do different segments. So you can now load up to 200,000 um, contacts or leads on Journey, like using import CSV, right? So that's the up to 200,000 limit. So real time behavioral. So I'll show you later on the demo, like how behavioral means. Like you can use customer voice if it's tied into your D65 sales, and then like there is like different options on this behavioral component. And of course AI driven, so it sits on top. It uses Copilot Studio for autonomous triggers and items, and then it uses query assist, like prompts. However, you want to use your natural language and how you wanted to collect your list. So what's behind the scene, the ecosystems behind it? So it has customer insight data, D365 sales, Power Platform, and Azure. So the customer insights data is another configuration on top of it, where you can connect to a data lake storage. If you have, this is where all the data scientists come from. Then this is where all the unified profiles comes in, right? So and then the D5 sales is your common CRM, right? And then it receives your lead handoffs, contact lead to see all your customer engagement history, and Power Platform, the where Power Automate flows and Copilot Studio agents for your workflows and queries and notification. And for sure, Azure, where if you would connect this to your enterprise ERP system, you can create like AI models, scalable cloud infrastructure. Like this is where Azure comes in. And then this is where also where you use your customer data insights integration with your ERP and CRM, other data sources. So how it is, like from an architecture perspective, the data stores on top. You can have another CRM that feeds to your customer insights journey, or you can have the D365 with your lead and contacts with automated handoff to your insights and journey, and also the customer insights data where you have your unified customer profiles, more deeper segmentation and customer 360 preview of customer. It feeds through your customer insights journey, and then the orchestration, trigger based, segment based, or again, like it can be a static copilot in AI where you can program the automated agents. Multi-channel engagement. This is your multi-channel communication. The flow in agent is what it's used within the journey to do like the sending a notification, scheduled or ad hoc. You can do it that way. So um, let's do a demo, like a quick demo, but what we can do for this demo, let's come up with a business use case. So let's create like a Toronto user group, AI ad hoc huddle happening in Toronto. So two things that we can create, registration forms, one of the channel, create email content invitation for that selected group. And then segmentation, you have that create that audience. So audience would be what contacts, groups, subgroups, depending on your list, and the journey to automate that communication. So you have the registration form, you have your email content, and then create your segment and use Journey to orchestrate that automation. So let me show you how it works. So this is customer insights journey. So it has a journey with all your automation. It has analytics, triggers, which has these triggers are some of them are out of the box, like Monsieur, like all like custom channels. When you install this, these are all the out of the box triggers that comes with it. Audience is where your segments are configured. Contacts and lead is the same list that you get from your if you have D365 sales or customer engagement, you will have contacts and lead, and consent center where you can see all the opt-in opt-out of your contacts. Channels are the ones that I mentioned earlier. These are emails, forms. These are all web forms that you can configure. Push notifications. When you configure that, you may, you know how Tim Hortons app, you can have push notification. You can configure it to do a push a notification alert to your app, text messages, and more other channels that you can use API. Asset libraries are used for your emails or forms that you can use for like images, files that's part of your email content, right? So on our, as I mentioned, our use case, let's say you have a Toronto user group. So you need a form for registration, you need an email content, and then you need to create a segment. Who are those users that you want to send that invitation to, and then create a journey. So let's create a form. So this is just a simple form. So you do new form. So you, form templates, custom form, it comes with it. So entitle, like click, select that. And then it automatically tells you where it maps to your first name, last name, email. So you'll notice it picks up the lead entity. So let's put the form, say Toronto event, and then join us, right? And then form is this is just Toronto user group. So this is how it looks. It's pretty simple. We can add more fields and form. Just save it. And then you can do a preview and test, right? And then what you need to do is publish it to get that URL, because that particular URL, if you publish this, that particular URL is what you use inside your email, email content when you send this out to users or to your audience. So when you publish options, it will give you, you can embed this form within the within your web page, or you can just create it as a standalone, right? So copy this. Let me copy. So I'll use it later. Notepad. Okay. So this is now done, right? So we have a form. We can do it, and then the submissions will show up here, right? So publish. We'll use this form, and then the next one is, let's create the content of the email. So I have a few sample emails here, but just to give you an overview how it looks, there are different templates that you can use. So create new. So I've been using this recent one. So there's different invitation, right? So subscription, new product launch, sales follow up, all these things. So let's use the one I just used earlier. Select, just to give you an overview. So this is like a drag and drop item. It's very easy. A business user can just easily do this. So you can use a logo, grab it from your asset library. So you can just replace this image from your library, right? So I have this. And then this one will just say, oh, Toronto user group. Right? The countdown begins. So we can just, I'll just leave this for now. And we'll say Wednesday, tomorrow, June 17th. And then, okay, I don't need this one. So just meet the experts. So it's very easy. Like, do you have a lot of options to add? You can have this text, image, button, custom code. So the other thing that we had to do is like, oh, I have the published form. So how do I replace this form to something else, right? So add a link, paste this URL that we have, right? And insert, right? So and that so what you do whenever you create this email, just check content and then check if there's anything missing. And then so it tells you, okay, you need a subject. The subject, add a subject. Just say, please join us on Toronto user group. Right. So now you have an email content. So I'll put this one here for now. Demo, user, Toronto user group. Right. So you can do a test send to make sure it looks good, right? So test send. I'll just put in my email. Test send. So while it's doing that, what we can do, so let me see, I'll check my email later. So test email is going to be sent to that. And then you will receive an email with bracket test on it. So let's say I'll have this ready to send. And then let me grab my email and let me show you how it looks. There you go. So this is what I just sent today. Toronto user group conference countdown begins. Okay, looks good. So this is ready to go. So, but we need to configure our list. So our list goes under segments. So they call it segments now. So segments is, as I mentioned earlier, you can do it trigger based. So let me see. So segment is, Oh, segment. So you have emails and forms. So channels are done. So segments. So we create a list. So I want only Toronto user group. And then query assist, as I mentioned earlier, Copilot is now enabled on this. You can use natural language to grab your list. So I want contacts. So these are all predefined here. Contacts who open email, contacts who click any email, who aren't in Canada. But what I want is contacts from Toronto, right? Right? So your Copilot engine is trying to look for your dataverse and grab that list. So I'll show you what I mean. So now, see the result is, hey, add a city called Toronto. So it knows, it's smart enough to know what field to use. So as a business user, I don't know all those attributes, but Query Assist, using Query Assist, you could use that, and then if I use, it'll give you that option, right? So it's smart enough to do that because of Copilot engine. The other thing that I mentioned is when you click add new, let's say this is another one, behavioral groups. So these are, you can use different marketing triggers like custom channel messages, customer voice, marketing events. So you can have other filters when querying your user group, right? So we won't be using that for now. We'll just use a simple one, which is I want contacts who are living in Toronto, like come and join our user group, right? So this is ready to use. So save, ready to use. So as it prepares the segment, what's going to happen is, so you know, it's getting ready. So what it does is it's getting your filter and then grabbing all that members and then putting it on this list. So this gives you all my list who lives in Toronto or has an address in Toronto. So now we created an email channel, email forms. I have a segment. So let's create our journey. So journey is the one that triggers, and this is your orchestration of when to send that notification, when to send that invitation, when to send that newsletter, survey, your feedback, right? So let's create a new journey. I'll just skip and create from blank. So as I mentioned earlier, you have trigger-based journey. So you can have like here, different triggers such as a new lead created, then you can send a survey, or you can send a feedback, or you can send a registration, or when a contact is created, or when a conversation is blocked, or when an incident is created, or certain things, any event or triggers that you can capture, you can trigger a journey or this orchestration. So I'll say but for the time being, our demo will be just segment based because I created a list for us. So I want um, tomorrow, oh, Toronto user group, Toronto user group, segment based, and look for records. So you'll notice I I created a user group, contacts in Dallas. So these are all the segments, right? So I'll just customer contacts, right? So what you do is this one-time journey, and then you can schedule it, right? I want it. Oh, so we don't have time, so I'll just say 12. So what happened is it schedules it. So you created your segment, you created your list, and then I want it to happen on that. Like I wanted to send it like, in 3 minutes or 5 minutes, right? These are my contacts. And then this is what you want to do on the next action. I want to send an email, or you can do within your segment, you can also do a condition. Hey, this people with this condition, or this people or this users with this condition, you can do that. But for simplicity, for this demo, I'll just choose the email that we want to use. So email and then send to and select the email. I'll use demo, right? So this will be the newsletter that will be sent to this selected users, right? And then save, publish, right? So while that's being published, what's going to happen is it will show that it's here. So while it's publishing, so it'll show different status on your view. See, it's like the record read only, so it's going to be publishing. So you'll notice so publishing, it's being published in the background. So like, there is Power Automate Copilot agents happening in the background, right? And then this one, there's draft completed. So this one is what I created yesterday. So it completed, that means it sent it out. This one is live. That means any triggers that happen, it will always have live sample. So when this thing is completed, like when it sends out for the particular date that I sent, it will show completed. Okay. Um. So that's about it for this particular demo, and then the sample that again the sample that we have is like here. So it'll give you, you'll receive the user will receive like company logo and whatever you put in on here. And then yeah, so that's about it. But another thing that I want to mention also is this is the feature about event planning. Like is the reason why you didn't use event planning, because there's more to it. So we just wanted the journey you can use for channel, like more like a newsletter and all those things. But this one is more a bigger beast. Like you can have event registration, team members, speakers, venue management, logistics, all those things are event planning in here. For today's demo, we just have customer journey. So that's about it for this demo. And let me know if there's any questions. So let me go back to the slides.
Thank you, Eleanor. I'm just monitoring the chat. There is nothing there yet. I think there's just a couple wrap-up slides maybe in the presentation.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing.
So for those of you interested, we do have additional solutions for success sessions coming up through the summer and into the fall. They're held on the third Tuesday of each month, typically, but please go to pointalliance.com/events to get the latest information on upcoming sessions. There is a QR code on the screen for you now as well. If you'd like to leave us a review, we'd be happy to have you complete that. And if there are no other questions, then we will let you get back to your days. And again, thank you so much, Eleanor. I know that was just a very high-level overview on customer insights. If anybody would like any more detailed information, please feel free to reach out to us, whether it's on customer insights or another aspect of D365, and we would be more than happy to have a follow-up chat with you. So thank you everyone for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.